Chapter 1. The studio was on fire. On screen text, September 2024. Washington, D.C. The MSNBC studio lights felt hotter than usual, or maybe that was just the anger radiating off Representative Jasmine Crockett as she sat across from anchor Chris Hayes. It was a Friday afternoon in late September, and Washington was buzzing with the kind of chaos that had become all too familiar. Another government shutdown loomed on the horizon, dark, ugly, and entirely preventable. Millions of Americans were refreshing their bank apps, wondering if their next paycheck would ever arrive. Federal workers were drafting emails to landlords they couldn't pay. And SNAP benefits, the only thing standing between millions of families and hunger, hung in the balance. But what had Crockett absolutely livid wasn't just the shutdown itself. It was what Speaker Mike Johnson had announced just 2 hours earlier. Congress would recess for a 2-week vacation while negotiations remained completely stalled. That's right. While Patricia in Dallas was crying over whether to buy groceries or blood pressure pills, Mike Johnson was packing for a 2-week break. Chris Hayes leaned forward, sensing the temperature shift in his usually ice-cool guest. "Congresswoman Crockett," he began. "Speaker Johnson just announced that the House will recess until October 16th, despite zero resolution on the funding bill." "Your reaction?" Crockett's jaw tightened so hard you could almost hear it. When she finally spoke, her words were measured, deliberate, like a prosecutor about to drop the hammer. "Chris, let me tell you what's happening right now in my district in Dallas. I've got a constituent named Patricia. She's 68 years old. Worked as a nurse for 43 years before retiring. Her SNAP benefits, the only thing helping her buy groceries, are about to stop. She called my office this morning in tears, asking if she has to choose between her blood pressure medication and eating this month, and you're asking me how I feel about Mike Johnson taking a vacation?" On-screen text. "Choose between medicine and food." The studio went dead silent. Chris's eyebrows shot up. The control room froze. On social media, where the interview was streaming live, the clip was already being shared thousands of times per minute. Crockett wasn't done. She leaned forward, locking eyes with the camera like she was staring straight at Mike Johnson himself. For weeks now, the speaker has been lecturing the American people about tough choices, about how we can't afford these programs, about how we have to be fiscally responsible. But apparently fiscal responsibility doesn't mean staying in Washington to do your job. Apparently tough choices don't apply to congressional vacation schedules. Her voice rose, passion replacing the measured tone. "We've got federal workers about to miss rent payments, military families wondering how they're going to feed their kids, small businesses on the verge of collapse because federal contracts are frozen. And Mike Johnson's solution? See you in 2 weeks. Figure it out yourselves. Hope you don't starve while I'm gone." Chris tried to jump in with procedural context. Crockett raised one hand. "Stop. No, Chris, let me finish this. Because somebody in this town needs to say it. The speaker loves talking about the dignity of work, about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, about personal responsibility. So where's his personal responsibility? Where's the dignity in walking away from your job when millions of Americans are depending on you to do it?" On-screen text. "Where's his personal responsibility?" The interview ran another 8 minutes. 8 minutes of Crockett dismantling every excuse Johnson had ever made. When it ended, her phone was exploding. Social media mentions hit the tens of thousands. Newsrooms across America scrambled to rewrite their evening broadcasts around one phrase that was already trending nationwide. Crockett's shutdown call-out, on-screen text. "One Congresswoman versus the Speaker. Who blinks first? Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because what happened next turned a routine shutdown threat into a full-blown political earthquake. Drop a comment right now. Where are you watching from? This story is just getting started." Chapter 2. The Spin and the Counterpunch. Within 60 minutes of the interview ending, Speaker Johnson's office fired back with a statement. On-screen text. Johnson's official statement, exact quote. "Speaker Johnson remains committed to reaching a bipartisan funding solution. The brief recess will allow members to return to their districts, hear from constituents, and return to Washington ready to negotiate in good faith." Classic political spin. The kind that usually lets leaders skate away unscathed. But Johnson's team had miscalculated badly. They underestimated two things: how furious the American people actually were. The fact that Jasmine Crockett was just warming up. That same evening, Crockett marched to the Capitol steps. No scheduled event, no polished backdrop, just a handful of Democrats, a folder full of heartbreak, and a live MSNBC camera that happened to be there. This wasn't a press conference. This was a public prosecution. I just read Speaker Johnson's statement, she began, holding up her phone like evidence in court. And I have to say, it's one of the most insulting things I've ever read. She stared straight into the lens. The speaker says he wants us to go home and hear from constituents. Let me tell you what my constituents are saying. Mr. Speaker, they're saying they can't wait 2 weeks. Their landlords don't accept congressional recess as payment. Their kids get hungry every single day, not just when it's convenient for Congress to show up. Then came the folder, her signature move. She flipped it open. Let me read you some of these. On-screen text, Marcus, TSA agent, DFW Airport, Congresswoman, I've worked every government shutdown for the last 15 years. They always say we'll get back pay eventually, but my electricity company doesn't take eventually. My daughter needs braces now. Please make them understand we're real people, not political pawns. Crockett looked up, eyes glistening but voice steady. Marcus isn't asking for a handout. He's asking to be paid for work he's already done. And Speaker Johnson's answer? Take a vacation. Next letter on-screen text, Sandra, single mom of 3 Oak Cliff. My SNAP benefits reload October 1st. That's the only way I can buy groceries for my kids. I work full-time at Walmart, but it's still not enough. If those benefits don't come, I don't know how to explain to my 6-year-old why there's no food in the house when Mommy works every day. Crockett's voice cracked. Just for a second. Sandra doesn't need me to fly home and listen. She needs me to stay here and fix this. She needs Speaker Johnson to do his job instead of suntanning while she figures out how to feed her babies. She read more. A veteran waiting on VA benefits, a cancer patient whose NIH treatment was about to vanish, a small business owner staring at bankruptcy, each story documented, each story real. Then her tone shifted, from heartbroken advocate to courtroom assassin. Let's talk about good faith negotiations. Good faith is staying at the table until you reach a deal. Good faith is missing your vacation instead of making federal workers miss paychecks. Good faith is treating this crisis with the urgency it deserves. She pointed at the Capitol behind her. Right now, inside that building, we have everything we need to fix this. Meeting rooms, staff, the constitutional authority to pass a bill tonight, if leadership wanted to. The only thing missing is political will from Speaker Mike Johnson. A reporter shouted, Congresswoman, isn't this just how the process works? Don't negotiations sometimes need breaks? Crockett wheeled around, sharp but ice cold. Does your landlord give you a 2-week break when rent is due? Does the grocery store let you take a vacation from paying for food? When my constituents can't pay their bills, they don't get to walk away. Why should Congress? Another reporter. What do you want Speaker Johnson to do, specifically? Crockett didn't blink. I want him to cancel the recess, keep the House in session, bring a clean continuing resolution to the floor tonight. And if he won't do that, I want him to look every federal worker, every SNAP mom, every veteran in the eye, on national television, and explain why his vacation is more important than their survival. On-screen text. Our cancel the recess, trending #1 nationwide. The clips detonated across social media. Cancel the recess shot to #1. News homepages rewrote headlines in real time, and in living rooms across America, people who normally change the channel during political segments stopped. Chapter 3. The Pressure Cookers. Saturday morning talk shows led with it. On-screen text. Washington Post front page. Shutdown politics. As Speaker vacations, one Congresswoman revolts. Even Fox News couldn't bury the story completely, but the real heat wasn't coming from cable news. It was coming from you, the American people. Republican district offices were flooded with calls. Veterans groups issued blistering statements. Federal employee unions demanded emergency sessions. Even conservative business groups warned about the economic fallout. By Sunday night, moderate Republicans started peeling away. Monday morning, Crockett returned to MSNBC, this time on Morning Joe, armed with a folder twice as thick. And a legislative bomb. I'm introducing a bill right now, she announced. It's called the No Vacation During Shutdown Act. Here's what it does. If the government shuts down, Congress cannot recess. No vacations, no fundraising trips, no fly fishing in Montana. You stay in Washington until you fix what you broke. Period. The hosts leaned in. Do you think it'll pass? Crockett smiled. The smile of someone who just laid the perfect trap. I don't know if it'll pass, but I know this. Every single member of Congress is going to have to vote on record, and every American watching will see exactly whose side their representative is on. On-screen text. Your congressman's vote, coming soon to a screen near you. Tuesday afternoon, Crockett dropped another statement, this one ending with a dare that would echo through the halls of Congress. I will be at my desk every single day of this recess. I invite Speaker Johnson to join me. Wednesday morning, everything broke. 12 House Republicans, led by moderates from swing districts, released a joint statement. On-screen text, Republican defection. While we disagree with Representative Crockett on many issues, she is right about this. Our constituents are hurting. We should be in Washington working, not on vacation. The dam had cracked. By noon, donors were panicking. Conservative pundits started muttering that maybe the optics weren't great. At 6 p.m., Speaker Johnson walked to the cameras looking like a man who hadn't slept in days. After consulting with members and leadership, he said, voice flat, we've decided to shorten the recess. The House will reconvene Monday, October 7th. 1 week instead of 2. A partial surrender. That night, Crockett returned to MSNBC, calm but unrelenting. I'll give the speaker credit for at least pretending to care. But let's be crystal clear. Mike Johnson was ready to take a 2-week vacation while Americans went hungry. He only changed his mind because you demanded it. Because colleagues on both sides demanded it. And because the political cost of his callousness became too high to ignore. She leaned into the camera one last time. This should never have been a fight. The idea that Congress would recess during a shutdown should be unthinkable. But we've normalized dysfunction so completely that it took a nationwide uprising to force leadership to do the bare minimum. That's not good enough. Americans deserve better, and I'm going to keep fighting until they get it. Chapter 4. The New Normal. The following week, Congress scrambled back early, passed a continuing resolution through December, and the government stayed open. But the real victory wasn't the legislation. It was the mirror Jasmine Crockett held up to Washington, and the country refused to look away. Editorials praised her courage. Progressive groups called her the new face of the fight. Even some conservative commentators admitted Johnson got schooled. Another shutdown is inevitable. That's just modern Washington. But now there's a new question hanging over every future crisis. When the next speaker tries to walk away, will anyone else in Congress have the guts to call them out? Or will we need Jasmine Crockett to do it again? Final screen if this story of one congresswoman refusing to let politicians vacation while people suffer fired you up. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a breakdown. Comment below, what issue do you want exposed next? Share this video with every friend who's tired of business as usual in Washington. Your voice, your views, your shares, they're what keep channels like this alive. We'll see you in the next one. End card. The people deserve better. Keep fighting. Rep. Jasmine Crockett.